Over the next few verses in the Olivet Discourse, Jesus talks about various signs ahead. Does he speak of signs in his time, or in what for him would be a far-flung future? In Matthew 24, 4-8, Jesus tells his disciples to be careful that they are not deceived. He goes on to refer to certain catastrophic or important events they can expect to be on the lookout for. Many modern end times theorists make it a point to look for all manner of modern events which they say fulfill verses 4-8. The preterist, of course, would need such events to be found in the first century. So we'll now show that indeed the first century saw its share of fulfilling events for these passages. Before we begin, though, the warning of future Christ requires a caveat. It wouldn't require someone to stand up and verbally self-identify as the Christ in a titular sense. To make such a self-identification wouldn't have been socially normal. On the other hand, it wouldn't have been too abnormal to make a more generic claim. I am anointed by God as for a purpose, which is also an acceptable reading of what Jesus said would be claimed there. As an aside, note that the parallel passages in Luke and Mark do not contain the word Christ. Let's now see how each of the signs in question found some fulfillment in the first century. After seeing all of this, some out there, especially funny atheists, may say, what's the big deal about these predictions? In a sense, they're right, and it points to something a lot of end times theorists miss about the purpose of these passages. In the middle of verse 6, Jesus offers the admonition, the end is not yet. Pair that with what he says in verse 3 about not being deceived. What he's telling his disciples is that all these events are precisely not a signal that the end is coming. Ironically, the message of this section is exactly contrary to the way these alleged signs of the end times are used by modern end times theorists.